It was almost the end of her shift and her feet were already killing her. As a waitress, she was used to it, but dreamed of the day when she would no longer be there. She was going to save enough money to pay her tuition. She cleaned up her table and picked up the invoice folder. Then she discovered the life-changing tip the customer had left her. However, she hardly had time to register the amount before the manager took it away from her. Shakira Edwards was a part-time employee at Denny for 3 years. She worked to earn money for her studies at the dental school. She didn't mind being ordered all day because it helped her make her dream come true. She was preparing for an undoubtedly long shift. When she looked at herself, she imagined the day when she could hand over her apron free of debt. She didn't know what she was going to find out. Shakira was no stranger to having difficult customers. As a result, she was always pleasantly surprised when she had a friendly and thoughtful customer. It just happened that morning that she served a beautiful couple. "She appreciated my smile," said Edwards later. However, she didn't know how much it was valued until the couple had already left. When she went to clean her table, she picked up the bill and looked at it. Her eyes widened when she saw that the bill had been paid by credit card and that they had left an incredible tip of $4,000. She couldn't believe her luck. She went to her manager and wept for joy to share the news with her manager. Then things went wrong. Shakira couldn't help imagining how she would use the money. Of course, she planned to use part of that money for her student debt of $33,000. However, it did not stop here. She also wanted to donate a portion to a program designed to help teenagers with depression. "It's just a blessing to have such good people. God answered my prayers because He knows what I'm going through," she said in a later interview. However, she hadn't expected what her boss would say next. Her manager looked at the bill and saw the huge number. It was not uncommon for someone to receive such a tip. He had read many stories about it. However, it never happened here. He thought for a moment before answering. "I'm sorry," he said as he put the bill in his pocket, "but that stays with me." Then he told her that if she wanted it back, she would have to do something for him. Her manager explained that although he could give her the money, there was a catch. She couldn't believe what he said. "I've just heard that they tell me something like this as a business, and as the owner tell me that this is the only solution, as if I'm wrong, to ask for something that I know I deserve. Call her back later." But what was the catch? She had also heard of huge tips left by generous guests and looked them up quickly. However, they all differed from their situation. None of them ever spoke of a manager who withheld a tip. Given that most waitresses earn between $298 and $500 a week, the tip their manager withheld was more than 2 months' wages. She listened to the condition her manager was presenting. There was simply no way. Shakira could change her whole life, but what she had to do to get it was too much. She looked at her graduation photo and remembered that the only thing that mattered was paying off her debts and becoming a full-time dental assistant. After a stiff drink, Shakira knew what to do. Her manager had told her that in order to process the tip, she would have to find the customer and confirm that he really intends to leave such a large tip. But how could a dental assistant who worked part-time at Denny's find someone who wasn't even a regular customer? Shakira considered what the manager was doing and tried to determine the best course of action. She wouldn't be surprised if someone in the restaurant tried to keep it to herself, she thought to herself. She knew that the company had little staff, little inventory, and low morale. Then, she had an idea. Shakira went to Facebook and Twitter hoping to find the person who had given her such a generous tip. But after weeks of no clues, her search had found nothing. But even though internet users couldn't help her track down the dump truck, they sat up and took note of their story. Soon, Denny's Facebook page was flooded with comments from people who had read about the story. Everyone thought Denny's had no right to tip one of their employees. One user wrote, "Are you kidding me? I'm sure there is a loophole that allows them to justify the retention. Also, with a winning ticket, just can't win." And it wasn't long before local news channels got involved. Shakira contacted the local news to tell them their story, hoping the customer would see the show. The waitress felt that Denny's had put her to shame by suggesting that she should have been more diligent in her work, and accused her of spreading misinformation. Shakira was outraged, and she had every right to be. She had worked the long hours and never complained, but that was just too much. "You will tell me that it is my fault that I did not receive the information about a customer when he left and tipped me," she said. "I don't know who tipped me." Denny's would like to make it clear that we would not withhold any tips or wages from any of our employees. However, Denny's is also committed to ensuring that our guests are charged the appropriate amount for their meals, Denny's said in a statement. In this case, Denny's had to investigate and verify whether the guest actually intended to tip this big. Not many people are aware that workers in the service industry are not paid the same way as workers in other industries. They receive a tipped minimum wage that is a fraction of the federal minimum wage. Tips cover the rest of a server's income, but there is no guarantee. As a result, the servers are committed to the whims of their paying customers, and it is an unfair system. Would Shakira get what she deserved? Denny's met with Ms. Edwards and informed her of the outcome of the investigation. "We understand the disappointment our server will experience when he receives this news," Denny's said in a media statement. "Unfortunately, Shakira should get bad news. We have looked into this matter carefully and found that the tip in question is incorrect," the statement said. Ultimately, it was found that the guest, who is older and unfamiliar with the debit system used at this location, entered a tip of $4,451.61 when he intended to tip $4 on his bill. "We have also taken steps to ensure that employees are better equipped for similar situations in the future," the spokesman continued. "Denny's is committed to both our guests and our employees and will always try to find the most fair and sensible solution. Any circumstances,